Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Tarot for Our Times. I'm feeling better enough that I'm up to about every other day of posting. Hopefully, I'll get the energy back to post nearly every day. So, the big thing in the news is about the attack on Yemen being chit chatted on group messages on unsecured cell phones, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about this. Probably, so I don't think I need to go over the whole thing again. It's just that, Tulsi and then, as he's getting to be known as WhiskeyleakPete, we're on, the messages chatting away like they're planning the prom or something like that instead of like national security, this sort of thing. And I understand a lot of those texts have been leaked, and it's been, they were stupid enough to invite the guy from the Atlantic, and it's just been a big mess. So there's been a lot of blowback, but I think one thing that I need to talk. Well, first of all, um, the theme card is the for today, as you could see on the thumbnail. It is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and for a number of us, the Queen of Pentacles has been Homeland Security, keeping the home front safe. But with a Russian asset in that very high position of, with supervising all of our intelligence, as being a big, the president of the Putin fan club, she represents, I believe, a lot of other people believe that she does represent a threat to national security. So that is why I have the card in reverse. And then there was the guy in Russia, and, God knows what they heard, this sort of thing. But I think the thing that really made an impression was it was on a YouTube with people, one of those people regretting their votes for Trump things, and it opened up, and I found this very riveting. This young woman whose husband, she's an army wife, and her husband is deployed in the Middle East, and he is part of the troops around Yemen. And she was so upset that the troop movements were involved, which meant that her husband's life and his, and all the other people they were in great danger. And at the point, I mean, the theme of the thing was the people, and more Trump voters regretting their vote. And she didn't say whether she voted for him or not. And even if she had, her whole tirade was so compelling. You just forget about that for a minute, at any rate. And it was so strong and powerful. You think not only her, but how so many other people are feeling. Now, the one thing that I cannot understand is, since um, Clinton was getting ready to leave office, and I believe that, I think, if I remember correctly, that when he was walking up those stairs for Bush to take the oath of office in 2001, that he had said to him, you know, you really have to watch out for there's some chatter about a big terrorist threat that could be happening in the next year. So you've really got to pay attention and be prepared for that. And Clinton made a big point of telling him that. Well, then we know what happened in September. Then apparently these warnings were ignored. So he was warned about this minutes before he took the oath of office. So, but yet, for some reason, people think of Republicans as far as national security goes, and I believe that's traditionally far from the truth. It all goes to this big chest beating, flag waving, putting on a good act about it, but they really are very lax with it, and there's all the hypocrisy around Hillary's emails and that sort of thing. And this, to me, what happened today is twice as bad. Now, I'm gotten a little bit weary of, and I've been guilty of it myself, of saying, this incident, that's a career ender for sure. That's going to end him. I mean, the January 6th, that was supposed to end him, and all of the court stuff, and only to be in the Mueller report and this and that. But I think there's something a little bit different about this. And I'm not going to say, oh, swoosh, that's the end of him. But I think I will be bold enough to say that this could be the beginning of the end. I really believe that this could be. And I get the sense that privately, except for this idiots like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren, what's-her-face, Boebert, those in the Jim Jordan douchebag types. They're not going to see this, but I would say that there are other Republicans giving kind of like lip service to MAGA that I believe in private are very, very concerned about this. Very concerned about this. So I do see a weakening. All of these other things I've mentioned, that is kind of weakening it. I've said this for a number of years now. I don't think there's going to be one thing that brings him down, but I will say I like to refer to it as death by 1,000 paper cuts. But I think this is a big one. I would say that this could very well be a turning point. So let's see. I want to make sure that I have gone over everything. So I don't think I need to go into great detail because I think everybody has heard this to death. So I do want to do a reading on if this is the beginning of the end for him. One of my British friends on Facebook, and believe me, they cannot stand him. One of my British friends on Facebook is saying she thinks it's only a matter of like about a month before he's finished. I'm not quite that, but she's one of us, so maybe she is. And I will say that all of this, of course, is for entertainment purposes only. So, oops, losing my microphone here. Oh dear. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Righty, I got my mic back. Okay, it does fall off the table quite a bit. So at any rate, she seems to think that this is serious enough, and with other things, that he could be gone. And I say, oh God, from her lips to you know what. So at any rate, I want to take a look at that. I also may want to take a look and see which one is going to be thrown under the bus first. Because of course, FOTUS is absolutely, I don't know what happened, that whole thing. So some people think it's going to be Mr. Happy Hour, and I think that it's Tulsi, probably because she's a woman, so so why not get rid of her first? I would say that if someone is going to be sacrificed and thrown under the bus, that whether it's one or the other, it'll be by a hair as to which one leaves. So that might be one of my short reads. So at any rate, I have been shuffling away. So first I'm going to see what if this is the beginning of it, this is going to, I think it's going to take on a life of its own and be growing, but I also believe there are other things that will need to be happening too. But I'm sort of thinking this may be like the bridge too far kind of thing. So let's see what's going to happen here. Okay. So let's see if this is the beginning of the end. If I get a lot of major arcanas, you can be pretty sure that. Okay, so where it is now, as far as down for the Lovers. Okay, the Lovers is the breakup, and that brings me back to the question about that there's probably a lot of fighting behind the scene to say, like, which one of these guys has to leave. Is it going to be her? Is it going to be him? So I would say that there's romances that have been breaking up between the tech bros and the MAGAs and the this and the that. So I would say this is just further fuel on the breakup. So let's see what energy we have. Oh, 3 of Cups in reverse. So I do believe that there were 3 major players with this, more than likely, although there were other things, including Mr. Goldberg of the Atlantic. So, okay, so this is interesting. So the 3 of Cups in reverse is, well, Cups in reverse, I would say that that old Petey boy probably had a snoot full in that call. And that's not really good at keeping secrets and this sort of thing. And which I would say probably caused, after the whole thing was done, probably caused distress and some emotional stuff on the others. So this is part of the infighting. So then we have, okay, yeah, this was a Chariot. They were moving forward with this attack on Yemen. But interesting. 3 of Pentacles in reverse. That's like they couldn't agree about anything about how this was going to be done. And the aftermath, this is kind of in the present. They're not really doing a big give and take as to deciding how to deal with this. And I couldn't bear, I can't stand to hear him talk. I couldn't bear to listen to this. Apparently he had a disastrous press conference over this today. And I saw the headline title on a Midas Touch. And Trump disastrous press conference having to do with this whole thing. My reaction was, I'll take your word for it, okay? But I can't stand to listen to. I'll probably maybe break down and listen to bits and pieces. Okay, this is very interesting. Then we have the 4 of Wands. So I'm going to say that, well, nobody is under this little tent anymore. I would say those figures in the back are kind of trying to make some, do some damage control and see. And I would say this may be the forming of trying to form some new alliances to see who has to be the sacrificial lamb for this. And I would say that this weekend, boy, that, the white, those white buildings with the red roofs, that's kind of like that Mediterranean thing. So I would say that there's going to be we're getting close to the weekend, so there's going to be some big powwows going on at Mar-a-Lago. Boy, I'd love to be a cockroach on the wall of that thing. Okay. So then, in the opposition of this is, Knight of Swords. We have Mr. Goldberg. You're just galloping along, and I guess he probably just gave everything. I guess he figured they invited me. I'm going to report. I'm going to give the story to the editor, and they can decide what they're going to print and what they're not going to print. That was the big mistake. This is like, Woodward and Bernstein all rolled up into one. So, yep, that was that was like the most stupid. I mean, aside from using that unsecured method, how stupid can you be? How careless? This is, if you're going to be a dictator, you can't hire incompetent boobs, okay? Okay. I mean, we've got to take comfort in the fact that he has a bunch of incompetents trying to do a coup. So, and this is telling me that this is going to be the sort of thing that's going to keep repeating itself. Okay, so in the past we have the Five of Cups in reverse. What this is telling me is that they didn't see the consequences of doing it this way. This card, when he's upright, he's all full of regrets. But in reverse, it's I would say there is the sadness of seeing all of it is emotional, but it's not about like, oh, we really screwed up. It's more like, oops, we got caught, and that's nothing learned, absolutely nothing learned from that. It's that skewed morality. So there we go. Five of Cups in reverse in the past. So, conscious thoughts with this. I keep thinking of the Three Stooges. Maybe that's a Three of Cups in reverse. Okay. Conscious thoughts. Oh, well, we really have it together. We're big. We're just big stars, and who's going to notice? Well, that we're a bit more in the past with this. Subconscious thoughts. We have. Oh, here we go. I believe that this is the energy behind every single one of their disasters. And every time you get depressed about thinking of, we're going into a dictatorship any day now, just think of, this is paranoia. This is like, who is going to stab me in the back? And they know someone's going to be, but that is the driving subconscious energy. This is like Hitler's last days, but without having all of the carnage that goes before that. They really went to that like before inauguration. So subconsciously, this is like, okay, this means that this is going to end somehow. Maybe it's going to take 10 of the, God, I hope not, 10 incidents of things like this, but they are so concerned about who's going to be thrown under the bus, who's going to get stabbed in the back, that it's absolutely paralytic. And that's I mean, they would never admit that consciously, but that has been the underlying energy of this whole thing. Okay, so here we've got that. Okay, so in the present, oh, interesting, we've got the Queen of Swords, and that in the past, that has been for, the latest was Harris, and various lady judges like Chetkin and some of these others that Fotis absolutely despises. What this is telling me is that I know they've had hearings in Congress, and that this could be part of that, but I wonder if somehow behind the scenes that maybe there is some sort of a legal thing going on around this. Very interesting. I think I need to put another quickie for the present. Okay, then we have the Lovers. So kind of going with that is there could be some behind scenes of the judicial and legislative branch mulling over this, or things that are things being handed over from one to the other, that sort of thing. Well, it's kind of like that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So, okay, so in the immediate future, we have our good old friend, the Moon card. It's like there's a lot of dark stuff going on behind this. And these two dogs represent them trying to keep it together and trying to keep calm, but then they're in conflict with the wild feral dog who, with this gang of idiots, that one seems to rule out where they lose control, but there's some deep dark ones, and this is going behind, how are the Trump people blackmailing this one and that one to seemingly get this to get people to do what they want them to do and all this sort of thing. But I believe that the light of you've got the sun, the moon, the male, the female, that it kind of in the conflict, but I would say that there will be light shown on this, whether it's by the light of the full moon or the sun. So that's pretty interesting. So a little bit longer term. When this guy is upright, the Eight of Pentacles, it's like he's had his nose to the grindstone. He's been kind of racking up his ideas, his money, whatever, very diligently. In reverse, we're saying like they're just kind of, making it up as they go along, that sort of thing. There's no in-depth planning. It's just chaos. It's like they're trying to throw those up against the wall, but they're not going to stick. Okay, so let's go over to our good old friend, the hopes and the fears. Okay, hopes and fears now. We have, oh my goodness. Can't make this stuff up. Oh, the infighting. That's another thing I've been saying is a running theme, is the infighting. And boy, this is kind of goes along with this Ten of Swords. It's that infighting. It's very there's always young people. It's kind of like very immature. I know I like when the twin tarot guys say this is the hillbilly brawl fight. So I don't even know if there's any hope in this. I would say they're all, I guess the hope is that one of them thinks that they're going to beat the crap out of someone and emerge victorious. The fear is that they're all going to destroy each other. So I've had this card come up for the little Doge boys, because I still feel as though there's conflict going with them and their paranoia. That this is going on with all of those involved in this disaster. So this is not good, and this is what usually, see, this is the thing, they're supposed to be doing this to us to divide and conquer. I would say the Democrats really need, and I think some of them are being, like Jasmine Crockett, she likes to poke the cage, that sort of poke the bear, that sort of thing, is to get them fighting amongst each other, divide and conquer. That could very well be, I think that's the big secret to bringing this whole thing down, is have them infighting as much as possible. So, and I think that some of them are in fear that these conflicts will bring it down. So, what the conclusion of all of this is, they're all going to go into self-victimization. Trust me, they're going to all go in on their little pity party. I call it the white Christian straight guy, the one that's calling all the shots. They love to put themselves into victim mode. So watch for that as these hearings continue, and they will play the victim because they're being mean to us. Oh dear. So what can be learned from all of this, as far as if this could be like the beginning of the end of this? This is big stuff. Is national security. I mean, and then you've got all those documents in ballrooms and bathrooms at Mar-a-Lago. Okay. Is like, try to not to worry. We may have less to worry about than we think that we do, because since they're doing all of this stuff here, this is just part of the big picture. They are actually going to be destroying themselves. Now, I'm not entirely on board. Yeah, in reverse, this is what me worry. I'm not quite on board with entirely with James Carville, like let's just lay back and give them enough rope to hang themselves. I think there's an element of that, but I also think that activism, getting out in the streets and doing it in the most peaceful way that you can is the answer. But also, I think, and I've done a reading, you can do both. I think what this is telling me is that this really is this is a little bit more serious than the other things. I know I believe very heavily that if they hadn't had Judge Cannon on the documents, that would have been a slam dunk. Definitely would have been a slam dunk conviction for sure. And that's the thing, when she ended up dismissing that's when that house of cards fell apart. I think what this is telling me is that it's very likely that that when this thing takes on a life of its own, the documents thing will come up again. That could become a story. There could be with all this Russia thing. That's why I put that Moscow skyline in the background of the thumbnail, because I think there's a lot to do with Russia in that. So let me see what we're going to... Okay. So I'm going to do a real quick read on who's going to be really going to be taking the brunt of this. Is this going to be Tulsi, or is it going to be Pete? I know that the majority of the commentators on the YouTube people that I respect, and from some of my fellow psychics, are really leaning towards the Pete. And I can't disagree, but I have a strong feeling for that it could be Tulsi. But, on the other hand, I think it's going to be almost like flip a coin time. But I would consider her definitely in very major peril of losing her job. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if it's going to be they're severely called on the carpet or someone gets bounced. I think there's enough public pressure that they've got to bounce someone, and it's kind of got to be someone we know about instead of the office boy or something like that. But, I don't know. Of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. So I'm going to, as I've shuffled these up, I'm going to do a couple quickie. Okay. We've got the Tulsi card. Oh. Which could be interesting. The King of Cups. And that's telling me that there may be kind of like a calm male energy. I can't imagine that in MAGA, but at least on the surface, but is as I've often seen with the King of Cups, is that he's kind of sitting there very tranquil, but there's a lot of action going on with the water and the waves, and there's more going on beneath the surface than it appears to be. So here's the Tulsi. Here's the Pete. Oh my goodness. The Nine of Wands in reverse. Oh, that guy is not holding it together. Absolutely not holding it together. Okay. This is telling me that because of his alcohol issues, shall we put it, that he may not be able to get back up and fight another day. I swear I have when I have seen him, he's either had a couple of belts or he's jonesing so bad for a drink. So okay, so this looks like there might be some guy that might come in and save her, but let's see, energetically. Yeah, this is there's some ally that she has. I'm not exactly sure who that is. It could be someone in the State Department that we don't really know about that may have her back. Or that could be, one hand washes the other, so they're joined together because they've owed each other favors. So let's see, Petey boy, what's the energy around him? Oh, emotional, very, very emotional. This guy doesn't go on thinking or logic. It's just emotion, but he thinks that he is really on the side of the gods, which is quite pathetic. So let's see. Let's see for her. What do we have here? We've got the King of Wands in reverse. Oh, the muskrat hasn't reared his little snout tonight, so King of Wands in reverse makes me wonder if, I don't think this would not be him because he's a basket case. I think that she may have an ally with him too, because I think it's all that Russia connection stuff. So let's see. Then we have Three of Cups, cause to celebrate. So I may not be quite right about her. Her bacon may be saved after all. And this is telling me that she may be being told to, well, this is like goes to lying low and keeping her mouth shut, which she was so evasive in those hearings. Okay, so we got her. Oh, alrighty. Then let's look at Whiskey Boy. Okay, so we have Cups in reverse. Boy, you know what I've said about Cups in reverse. Substance abuse, and he cannot walk away from the booze. He cannot walk. He can turn his back on it. But see, he's got a couple there in front of him that could be very, it's only a beer. One of those things. I'm kind of wondering if they are finally saying, this guy has a problem. We thought we could control him. So it's kind of like he pretends to walk away from it, but he's really that stance. He's standing still. He doesn't have one foot in front of the other. But I'm wondering if they're probably regretting. So let's see, quickie here. Oh, Nine of Swords in reverse. He's really an arrogant and heavily in denial. Because in reverse, this is about, he's sleeping. He's probably passing out is more like it. Okay, so he's not really worried. Wow, talk about denial. Whoa, that's brought to a whole new level. So let's see what we have here. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. You know what? He may look okay, but this is telling me that because of his drinking, really heavy drinking, he may have some health issues. And so that could be a way of them saying, oh, well, you're just not healthy enough, without mentioning that. But I could be right. But the cards are telling me not so fast with her. It's maybe more likely it could be him. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deck cut. Okay, let's do a deck cut here. Okay, oh. For her, we've got the Magician in reverse. Okay. Okay, so if she sticks around, if she's not the sacrificial lamb, what this is telling me is that whatever BS she has been pulling to get herself off the hook has an expiration date. It's not going to last. It's like she'll do the old tricks, but kind of like she's not fooling anybody. So, okay, so we got that in a reverse. And then with Petey Boy, the Hierophant. That's saying that it's like that whole system of the government and everything, that could bring him down. It could be the rules of, well, we told you you can't drink and you drank and it's ruining your health, so you're going to have to go. Okay. So if anybody goes, I guess, of course, for entertain, the cards are telling me as far as she goes, not so fast. Okay. So I'm going to do a brief read on how is this going to affect the rest of the world. You wouldn't believe the messages I've been getting from my British friends on Facebook. It's like, whoa. You know, it's almost like we thought we had troubles. I'm telling you, it's just absolutely amazing. Because, see, the thing with people, we're just so insulated in our little bubble here that we don't realize how this is affecting the rest of the world. All of these friends, from the Netherlands and Ireland and the UK and you name it, like all those people I knew at Arthur Findlay, they're really concerned. They're saying this affects us too. The thing with the tariffs and the this and the that, and they don't dare. After the French guy, they wouldn't let him in for a conference because he said that the Trump administration didn't do science very well, and so, oh no, we can't have him coming in. That's like really some serious stuff. So I'm telling you, I hope none of you are planning on vacationing in the States. Canadians, forget it. I don't expect to see any in Lilydale this summer, and that's where I know a lot of Canadians, because it's as far north. Toronto is as far north from Chautauqua County as Pittsburgh is from the south, so they're pretty close by. They're not coming. Okay, so let's see how this will affect the rest. I need to do a quick shuffle because I'm going to use this deck. Okay, so how is this going to affect the rest of the world? And I include Europe, Mexico, Canada, this latest stunt, because if our security isn't doing so hot, neither is theirs. Okay, so let's just... Okay, so here we go. Okay, so how is this going to affect? Okay, so we have... The Page of Wands. I mean, this is a fire thing, but he's standing pretty calmly. He's taking pause before delivering a very fiery message. This is telling me the rest of the world is, they're kind of, they may be ranting and raving a bit, but as far as what they're going to do about this, they might be in on a little wait and see. We're going to kind of regroup here for a minute. Let's see, get a little more visibility. Okay. And then we have energetically, we have, oh, wowie. This is amazing. The page, it's the energy of the page in one. See, even in this deck, he is before he lights that match or sets the torch to anything, he's contemplating. And see, with the ocean behind this guy, this is interesting because this guy, he's on the desert. See the pyramids? This is the Middle East page of wands, and this is the he looks kind of European. I mean, this is the European page. Well, they're all on kind of like this alert, let's wait and see. But there will be action taken, and boy, when it is, it's going to be incredible. So in the past, we have strength. In a short amount of time, what this is telling me is that they say expect the worst, most stupid thing coming from the U.S., and we're going to build up our strength. But in the meantime, right now, we're going to just see what we can do to soothe the beast a little bit and await and see. Because sometimes the strength can come from taking a pause and figuring the next step, which is so not what the U.S. is doing. And then we have, in the present, the Knight of Swords. They're getting ready to deliver a message, and it will be pretty fast, and I am betting that it's going to cut. So before there's any, I don't see military in the trade thing. Well, that's another thing, but I feel as though this a lot in the very modern age. Swords and wands both can be representative of the internet. So there could be like this very severe internet, let's see, really kind of giving it to this thing. I'd also say, boys and girls, I think we have a card for Anonymous. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. He's got his, you can't see his face. He's got that helmet down. That horse is ready to charge. He's at the edge of the cliff, but he hasn't, he still has, see, he's got the reins. He's got the reins. The birds are flying around, but he is ready, or they, because it's a big group, they are ready to spring into action here. So the Knight of Swords I'm seeing is Anonymous. And believe me, when he digs those spurs into that horse, whoa. I mean, he's given a few nudges. I understand Twitter went down again for a little while. So it's the world and Anonymous. That's like the 21st century. French, Dutch, German, you have it, resistance. Okay, so then coming up in the future, we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So this is, following this guide, this will be the worldwide exposure of corruption that we can't even imagine yet. That all of this, one hand washes the other, and the favors owed and debted and this and that, could very well be coming out in the open, which is, if they can destroy that, then that does bring down the Muskrat and Fotis house of cards. So this is telling me that the big mistake in this is that it's international now. It's really international. So let's see what the outcome of this is. Eight of Wands in reverse. This very well could be that there could be some other stupid, foolish action like this and attacking tents in Yemen or whatever could be thwarted and stopped. And not necessarily by the Russians, but by the other powers in the world that could be. And it could be from good old Anonymous over here. Maybe Anonymous is going to be giving some leaks to thwart their plans. So that is quite interesting. So to conclude this portion of this thing, oh boy. We have the Knight of Wands. I would say that this is maybe another element of Anonymous, that once he digs those spurs into the horse and gets it to gallop, it's going to be like a fire that very possibly can't be put out by people doing all this crazy stuff here. So there would be international consequences. Now, whether that's going to be a domestic thing, how it happens. Let's see. Do the bottom of the deck again. Domestically, it will be the refusal to harvest the fruit of the poison tree. She's going for it, and that it could very well fall apart. It also tells me that this could be the falling apart of certain money laundering for some of the more nefarious parts of this whole thing, and that some of the cogs in the wheels of that could decide, I'm not putting that in my basket. So there could be some financial consequence of this, a domestic that will hit us domestically, because Pentacles have been playing a big part. And so let's see what's the bottom of this deck is the Lovers. And so domestically, how this will hit us domestically is some very surprising alliances. And I would say that this could come in it has a very similar energy of the Liz Cheney's and some of the other Republicans that have a conscience, like they did back in the Watergate days. So there could be some very, very surprising I'm not saying Jim Jordan or anything like that, but people that have been voting MAGA, that there's some chips. There could be some chips in that. So wait and see for some of the national security hawks that may say this is a bridge too far. I'm not saying they're all going to turn and they're going to impeach him, but I would say that these alliances here are going to be part of... Oh, look what we have right underneath. Okay. Our friend the Tower. The Tower in reverse, that's kind of interesting because we have all these mini things. It's never like the one big tower upright that brings the whole thing down. But this is pretty much these little catastrophes, or these catastrophes that fizzle out, that are going to, in the end, add up to one great big thing, which in fact will. But it's all because one of the messages of the Tower in reverse is that they keep doing the same thing over again, hoping to get different results. So how fast this is going to happen, we could be just another security, Three Stooges adventure away from the whole thing collapses, or it may still be the paper cuts. I think that I can pretty confidently say that it's accelerating. It really is accelerating, because you get incompetent people that compliment you. And that's going to be his downfall, is his vanity. It's the whole vanity and the whole blackmail vanity thing put together. That could be an end. So it will be a number of things, but I will say it's accelerating. I put this whole thing at 2 years. I think I'm kind of down to a year, but my friend Rosemary said, nah, it'll be a month. But maybe she's seeing something in the UK that I'm not. Maybe it's like, I can't be that hopeful. But at any rate, it's accelerating. So this is something that should have happened like a year or two into the administration, but no, these disasters are piling on. So on that cheery note, I'm going to sign off. I don't know that I'll get back to you tomorrow, but I will. I think Friday, you'll see me again. Who knows? So at any rate, have a good one, everyone, and good night.